In this video, I'll be going over how to import data into Slicer. Now, I will be touching a little bit on how to navigate throughout Slicer, but I'm going to save most of that for a later video once you've been able to import your own data. When you open up Slicer, you'll see this left window that has the two options for loading data. You can also always see these up on the toolbar up here. The two options are load data or load DICOM data, and which one you select will depend on your data format. Now, first I'm going to show you the easiest data format to load, which is the NRRD. You click on the Load Data tool, then you click Choose Files to add, and finally you select the NRRD that you want to load. Depending on the size of the file, it could take a little bit of time to load. Okay, now you can see that my volume file has loaded. I can scroll around it a little bit. And one thing I wanted to note is that I can go into first the data module, and the volume will show up here. The data module will tell you anything you have loaded into your Slicer scene. And second, I can go to the volumes module, which tells you about your volume. And if I select this volume that I just loaded, you can see that it actually has spacing information saved in it along with the images. So this file has a 0.02 millimeter resolution for each pixel. If you don't have image spacing information, Slicer will just default to 1 millimeter for each. Okay, I've cleared out the scene, so now I can show you how to load in a stack of images that's not saved as just one file. So again, I'll go to the Load Data. I will click Choose Files to add. And then you will be able to see here that I have this folder that has a bunch of bitmap files in it. These are all part of the same volume, and they're all in order, but they were generated that way. And they are the only thing that is in this folder. So this will not work correctly unless the only thing you have in the folder you're loading from is the images that are part of the volume. So I can just select the first image, and Slicer will think it's a scalar overlay to start, but I can switch this to volume. Next, I want to show all options, which is in the upper corner here. And I want to uncheck the single file option. Basically, this is telling Slicer that the file I've selected is the first of many. I can then click OK. And again, we'll wait a little bit as that loads. Now that this volume is loaded, we can go into the Data tab again and see the volume. And then we can go into the Volumes tab and look at the volume information. And we can see that Slicer has assigned the default spacing of 1 millimeter to this volume. That is because the data we loaded was only the images. I would have to go into the text file associated with the scan to find out what the actual image spacing was. The final type of data I would like to demonstrate loading is DICOM data. DICOM is unique to medical CT scanners, so if you ever get fossil scanned within one, you are likely to encounter it. First, you can click on the Load DICOM Data tab, either in the Welcome Slicer module like I just did, or you can click this DICOM button up here. This window will appear, which will allow you to load the DICOM data. You can see I already have one scan loaded called Patriofelis. First, you go to Import, and then you would navigate to the folder that contains the scan. In this case, I'm going to be loading Scan 2. You will select the folder and click Import. Like everything else, this is going to take a second. Once the data is loaded, this message will appear that will tell you the number of new patients, quote unquote, which is just a scan, and then the number of essentially images in the stack. And now here you can see Patriofelis 2 has been added to my scan log. Because this was taken in a format that is intended for actual patients. You can see I have metadata like the fact that this quote-unquote patient's name is Patriophilus 2. This is just the second scan we did of the other fossil that couldn't fit into the first scan. This automatically generated patient ID. We have the birth date for Patriophilus, which just had to be randomly set, and all this other information that was filled in automatically. What I'd like to bring your attention to is down here, you'll see two options. One is this series descriptions, that's just research. It may be called something else in your scan, and then this one called topogram. You'll want this first one, the research, to actually load the volume. The topogram will just be a single image. And if you ended up getting the wrong one, you can always go back and reload. So I'll click load. And now you can see that my scan has loaded here. And of course, if we go back into this volumes module, click on volume information, you will see that the image spacing is all loaded in. One thing to note is that it's not the same for each axis, and that just has to do with how the CT scanner works, where the X and Y will be the same, but then the Z spacing, or the distance between the slices, will be a little different sometimes. Now, you may encounter other types of data that load a little differently, but those three that I've just shown are going to cover most of the scenarios that you'll encounter.